Hey everybody, welcome back. So today we are talking about Palantir stock. Okay, stock ticker PLTR. If you have not heard of Palantir stock, guys, you have been living in a rock. Okay, so Palantir stock is one of the biggest AI companies, so artificial intelligence. Okay, artificial intelligence is a very complex system that allows things to happen a lot easier. Okay, so they use AI to track down Osama bin Laden. They're using AI for self-driving cars. They're using AI for just so many different technologies that is going to make things a lot easier. And we're going to talk about that, just kind of what is going on with the company and why I'm ultimately bullish on this stock. Okay, so just two ways that you probably don't know, but that you currently use with artificial intelligence is number one, facial recognition. So whenever you open your phone, if you're using an iPhone and if you allow the iPhone to open up whenever you show your face, that's using AI. Okay, another one is if you have filters on your phone when you're taking photos, that uses AI as well. Okay, so and something in the future to keep in mind, and there's a lot of practical implications for AI. But in the future, there are technology right now that is developing where AI will allow cars to self-drive. Okay, so Tesla is one example that has currently been doing a lot of work with AI. They're still, they're still in the works, so it's not quite there yet, but it's pretty getting pretty close, guys. Digital assistants, voice recognition. Anytime you use Siri or Alexa or Google Voice or Google, I forgot what Google does, but whenever you use those types of applications, those are also working with AI as well. So Palantir is a public company that does big data analytics, and they started out working with a lot of basically the government. And over time, and especially in the past year, they've really developed out, and they started selling their AI products to commercial companies and corporations. So they're one of the leading AI companies out there right now. And let's talk about the stock. Okay, so let's talk about some of the fundamentals and ultimately why I'm bullish on this stock. Okay, so the first thing that I thought was interesting is Palantir last August purchased $50.7 million worth of gold, like a literal physical gold blocks. And so if you're bullish on gold, if you're concerned over inflation or some of the things happening in the economy right now with the federal government, Palantir has stocks of gold. They're like $50.7 million. So I don't know why, honestly, but perhaps that's just their way of hedging and having enough cash to weather through any potential storms, near-term storms. And so yeah, if you're invested in Palantir, I really don't think they're going to go anywhere. Secondly, Palantir posted its Q4 results, and the revenue grew 34%. That is outstanding, guys, for a company that was highly dedicated to just government applications. Guys, this company has grown significantly year to year. The commercial sector. Okay, so as I said, they started out originally building applications for governments, for the government, and but in the last year they've really sported out into the commercial industry, and they grew at about 150%. So that is great, guys. Palantir was built in times of adversity, and given the circumstances happening around the world right now, guys, right now Palantir is a stock that I would definitely have in my portfolio. And later on I'm going to talk about how to trade options with it, because that's really my bread and butter. I trade options to limit risk. Options allows you to limit risk if you really know what you're doing, and so we're going to talk about that as well soon. Okay, so Palantir basically has no debt. Okay, so can you believe that? Zero debt. They have about $2.29 billion of cash. And yeah, so there's a lot of great things about Palantir. Q4 of last year, 2021, the revenue was about $433 million. That is great. Their commercial revenue grew 47%. US commercial revenue grew about 132%. Their total revenue grew to about $1.54 billion, guys. That is insane for a company that's relatively new. It's been around for just like 10, well, a little, 15 years. Started in 2003, I believe. Yeah, and so government revenue grew as well, 47% to $897 million. That is outstanding. Commercial customers. Okay, so that's one of the things that we were really taking a look at to see how well they're doing commercially, because government contracts are great, but guys, any company has to eventually branch out, and their commercial customers has tripled to about 147 commercial customers right now. Okay, so in the U.S. alone, they had about 80 commercial customers. So that is great, guys. That's really, really great news for Palantir stocks. Guys, as with any company, there are risks with Palantir. The first one, in my opinion, being that Palantir does have government contracts that have sort of stagnated. Okay, so basically what that means is it's kind of grown to a level to where I don't know if it can grow significantly anymore, especially with government contracts. The government is only going to spend this much money on Palantir services, what Palantir can offer, and I just don't know how much more Palantir can offer in the long term. I think there are more practical applications for AI that you can definitely find, for government usage. But guys, that's one risk. The other risk is Palantir has actually invested a lot into SPACs. So basically, these are companies that went public through a slightly quicker route. These are companies that are very, very new, and Palantir is invested into it. So there are a lot of risks that these SPACs can do very, very well, or they can potentially go down. Okay, so a lot of these are really just customers of Palantir itself, and so they've invested quite a bit of money into that as well. Okay, so those are some of the risks with Palantir. Now let's talk about stocks and what we can do with options to trade Palantir. Okay, so let's take a look at Palantir stock. So as you can see right now, the stock is trading at a pretty low price compared to where it was just last year, where it was trading at $28. And then, guys, I think right now is a great time to get into Palantir, especially if you're bullish long term. Guys, I do really, really think that the stock is eventually going to bounce back up. But right now the market cap is at $24 billion. Pretty big company. In the last year, it's down about 50%. Okay, just a lot of catalysts that kind of pointed it down. So let's take a look at our options chart. If we go into our Robinhood account, guys, the way I'm trading at Palantir right now is I'm just selling put options. Okay, so some people sell it month out, some people sell it 2-3 months out. Whatever money you're wanting to collect, great. Okay, so right now, if you for example, if you sold a month out, you can collect about $90, which is great, on collateral of about $1,000. So that is great, guys. That is almost 10% return just in 1 month. In fact, it's less than 1 month. Okay, so this just basically means that you're you will be forced to buy the stock at $12 if it falls down $12. But you're getting paid a premium of $90 to open up this this put option. Okay, so that means that for you to start realizing a loss, the stock will actually have to fall to about $11.11, because you would have to account for the premium that you collect up front. Okay, so that is about a 10% downside for you to start sort of having quote unquote loss. But you don't really have that loss if you just hold on to the stock, because if you hold on to the stock and if it goes up, great, then you just profited. And on the flip side, you can also sell covered calls. This is basically the wheel strategy. Okay, so what you would do is you would turn around, sell a call option, and that basically means that, okay, so you have 100 shares, and you would be forced to sell the 100 shares at a certain strike price. So let's say I sell a call option at $14. I'll be forced to sell Palantir at $14, but I'll get paid a premium of $39. So this means that if it goes up to $14, I would be forced to sell my shares, but I would collect that profit on the upside from from $12.33 to $14, and I would keep the premium that I collected. Okay, so I'm really just selling put options. If you take a look at, let's do May. We'll give it a couple months. You'll see your premium gets a little more juicy. You would collect about $164. It's just a little more than your month out, but you're selling at a lower strike price at $12. Let's do August. Okay, so a couple more months, you would collect about $225. And let's give it just shy of 1 year. Guys, you can collect about $320 right now on a put option for Palantir. And this is something that I would highly consider because simply because of how much premium you collect up front. And so the stock would really have to move down quite a bit before you start realizing a loss. And at the end of the expiration, if the stock is up, you just simply collect your premium. If the stock is down, you do get assigned, but you use the premium that you already collected to offset on that loss, and so you still have a gain. And you would just have 100 shares of Palantir at that strike price that you selected, and you hold on to it, and you're going to make great money if the stock eventually goes up. Guys, I am long term on Palantir. If I do get assigned, I would simply hold on to these shares for 3 or 5 years. I do think this company is very likely going to be up in a couple of years, if not sooner. But that's why I'm just selling put options, guys. I haven't gotten signed yet, but if I do get assigned, I would simply turn around and sell the call option. And I do think this is a great strategy, a great stock to sell puts and then sell covered calls if you get assigned. So effectively doing the wheel strategy. Okay, so I hope this content is helpful for you guys. If you like this kind of content, if you want me to make more content like this, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. That would really help me out with this channel, and I would really appreciate it. Until next time, guys, I'll see you around in the next video.
With every start, we are born again. Open your heart, spend this time in your head.